Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets, their 24-25 season, what we can look forward to or maybe not look forward to for the upcoming year. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I'm Auramaxing. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms, so you know what to do. I love a single bang. We all do. If you got a double bang in you, go for it. That's audio, video. Do both. Thumb, comment, subscribe. NBA Draft Show live Wednesday, 25th of June. 8 p.m. Eastern live here on YouTube. I will see you there. Bring your drinks, bring your snacks, and we'll get it going. We are talking about the Denver Nuggets who fired their coach and their GM. They got a new coach, David Adelman. They don't have a new GM at this point, and you probably want to get one of those with the draft like a week and a half away. But, you know, the Denver Nuggets do at times do things a little bit differently. Incorrectly, weirdly enough, and is it an all-time fumble with what they've done with this roster over the last few years, given that Nikola Jokic is on it? Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I think some of the relevance they have is there's a lot of luck involved. There's some good moves, don't get me wrong. But there's some luck just by having Jokic and the value that that provides. And then some of the other stuff is pretty questionable. Let's talk about what they did and what they look forward to in the offseason free agency-wise. In terms of their record, they're another one of those teams that was 50-32 along with the Lakers and the Clippers. They don't have any picks in this draft. So I guess maybe they don't need a GM for the draft because they have no picks. Now, of course, you can always make trades to get picks. But they currently don't have a pick. So they'll still be doing their scouting and undrafted free agents and two-way guys, which we'll talk about later on, but they don't have a pick. What they do have is one of those free agent failures or front office failures that I talked about is that there's a player option for Dario Saric. And it's not a minimum contract. Of course it's not. It's $5.4 million. An absolute waste of $5.4 million. Saric was washed in Golden State. Denver thought he'll solve our backup center problems. He was out of the rotation in about a month. And he is 100% picking up $5.4 million because he's not getting that contract anywhere else. So he'll be back on that deal. Terrible signing. Terrible signing. They did the same thing with Reggie Jackson a few years ago where they signed him to this weird $5.5 million player option deal when no one was giving him more than a minimum. So I don't really understand that. They got 3 unrestricted guys. One of those is Russell Westbrook. He did have a player option at the minimum and he's declined that option now. So he's officially declined it. So he will enter free agency. Doesn't mean that he won't be back with the Nuggets or not. We know they don't have bird rights to bring him back. They'd have to use an exception or sign him to another minimum, but he can go wherever he wants now. The other 2 are 2 backup big men, DeAndre Jordan, who honestly played all right in the times that he played, and some of their other backup big man option, not that good. And then Vlatko Čančar, who's been dealing with significant knee injuries, had the torn ACL. Then I don't even know what injury he had on his knee. I'm sure someone's going to tell me they announced it. I actually just can't remember it because I felt like that it was hidden from us from a long time. He did return, but Čančar, despite being one of Jokic's best mates, we were getting a little bit to the Thanasis point of this where I don't know that you can justify bringing him back, especially after the multiple knee injuries. There are 3 restricted guys as well. They're their 3 two-way players, and we just didn't see any of them. I was very high on Trey Alexander as a project coming out of the draft, as a prospect. I thought he was a first-round player. He didn't get drafted at all. He went to Denver and didn't play. Is it because he was in Denver or because he's just no good? I'll lean towards maybe he's no good at this point. But also, PJ Hall and Spencer Jones are not that interested in them. Alexander's a combo guard-ish player who can shoot, who can pass. Defense is okay. He's decent sized, but he just didn't play. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that his G League numbers were like just bashing down the door that he had to get in there. But not a great start to his career. And I hope that he's able to do better, but there's clearly no guarantee of that. Let's get in and talk about their players. So let's start at the very, very, very top. And it's Big Chungus. Nikola Jokic, who in a lot of drafts was going at pick number 2. His Yahoo ADP was 2.2. I had him at number 2 in the preseason. And in the end, he did finish ranked number 2. The difference is that I thought that a different player would be number 1, but it wasn't him. It was Shea that got to number 1, and Jokic was number 2. In points leagues, he was far and away the number 1 player, without question. 64 fantasy points a game is an insane number. He is 30. He had a 30% usage. He played 37 minutes. Part of the reason why I think Jokic was actually able to be as good as he was this season, you'll notice post-trade deadline, he was the first-ranked player. He averaged 30 and 13 with 10 assists and almost 1.8 steals, 58, 80, and 42. They're unbelievable numbers. I will say this. Nearly everybody watching this right now, nearly everybody playing fantasy next season, maybe not everybody, but there'll be a huge groundswell of Jokic has to be the number 1 player. Until he's not, he has to be number 1. Some will argue Shea. I know that. But people will still say Jokic has to be number 1. I will just say this. To get to the numbers that Jokic put up this season, and he put them up, he's unbelievable. He's possibly one of my favorite players. Is he my favorite player of all time? Not far off. I love him. I've recognized his fantasy greatness for a long time and real life greatness for a long time. I love Nikola Jokic. I think he's the best player in the NBA without doubt. To get to these numbers, he had to play 37 minutes a night. To get to these numbers, he had to average 1.8 steals. To get to these numbers, he had to shoot 42% from 3. And it's Jokic. I can't rule out that he'll be just unbelievable. I can't rule that out. I don't think those 3 things happen again. If 2 of them happen, maybe he is good enough to stay at 1 or be number 2. But if, say, the 42 from 3 goes to 34, he's had 34% shooting seasons. If 1.8 steals becomes 1.1, if 37 minutes becomes 34, we start to have a different conversation. Like I said, he's 30. What if his usage drops to 28? I don't think it will. I think it'll be fine. Look at Darko's Delta number, 12th percentile. He did drop. He's still great. And when you're coming from such a high level, a drop will look big. But he did drop. He's still awesome. But he did drop. Offensive load and passing volume 100th percentile, no one's doubting that. But there are, again, it's not a red flag as such. I'm not saying that Jokic isn't good or he's not going to continue to be good. He'll be a top 5 player for probably 4 more years at least. But to be the guy that he was this season, 37 minutes, 42 from 3, and 1.8 steals. And they are all like, every one of his numbers is an outlier. You go, what? 10 assists and 13 rebounds? That's a bug. No way that continues. But you look at him and go, of course he can do it. 30 points a game? Easy. Why not? He could do it. 1.8 steals, 42 from 3, 37 minutes? I don't know. I have some doubts. And I do think that when I do projections for next season, he won't project to number 1. Because I won't project him to do those 3 things again. And then when you're talking about these things in projections and looking at players, if you're going to project those things down, then you look at other stats. I go, well, what could realistically improve? And that's where I go, yeah, I'm not sure. The 80% from the line could go to 83, maybe? Will he do more in the assists or rebounds or scoring or blocks? Probably not. And that's where I look at that. So I'm not predicting a drop-off. Just be clear. I'm not predicting he's going to be terrible. I'm not predicting he's going to be outside the top 5. I am predicting that the overall value here will be much lower. Well, not much. It'll be noticeably lower next season for those specific reasons that I mentioned. You might disagree, and that's okay. Drop it in the comments. But my point is on 3 things. Minutes, 3-point percentage, and steals. And I don't have the full confidence they hold at that number. I'm going to take you to school coming up soon because we're going to talk about the headmaster. Before we do that, though, today's episode, it is brought to you by Game Time, the NBA Finals. They're on. At least 1 game left, maybe 2. The atmosphere of live sport, especially high-stakes playoff games, is amazing. And that's why you want to get into the arena to watch them. With Game Time, it makes it fast and easy to get those seats, even for those big finals games. The prices on the Game Time app actually drop the closer you get to Game Time as well. So it's a total game changer, along with their no surprise fees and the panoramic seat views. They've also got the Game Time guarantee, so you know that you're getting the best deal. And if you find a seat in the same row and section, they'll credit you with 110% of the difference. It makes it ridiculously simple on that app. It's 2 tips. I'm not from New Zealand. It's 2 taps and you're done. See that exact view? Don't get surprised with fees. It's easy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. Just on that Jokic thing, now, just a bit to be clear, I'm not saying those things to justify why I had Wembanyama ahead of Jokic. I had him as I said, take either one of them at number one. I'd do 60% Wemby, 40% Jokic was always my statement on that, right? I'm not, because obviously Jokic was better than Wembanyama last season. No doubt about that. I'm just more giving you the things where I go, ooh, just a few things there that haven't always been there for Jokic that may not hold. They might, but they might not. And I think it's worth bringing up. I think it's worth mentioning. Because, again, he's 30. Let's go to the next player. It is the headmaster, Jamal Murray, Canada's own. I was very worried about Jamal Murray heading into this season. We saw him have some, real weird games the year before. We saw him have, a horrific Olympics. And we're worried about his history of injuries. And honestly, I wasn't that interested in looking at him as a fantasy option for that past season. I had him 60th, and his ADP was 54. I got this way wrong. Murray somehow was the 27th ranked player. He was 41st in points leagues. He was 18th after the trade deadline. He ramped it up. He dealt with some soft tissue injuries again, which is a common theme. But he played 36 minutes. So, like Jokic, they were so bereft of depth that Dr. Michael Malone, RIP him as a coach at this point, maybe he comes back and coaches on the team, I don't know, that he just played his starters the biggest minutes they've ever played. Which is weird considering the year before they burnt out early from playing big minutes. And that enabled Murray to be literally one of the best value picks in those mid rounds, and I just was not on that at all. I will again put some of those concerns out. Now, he's had multiple soft tissue injuries, Jamal. He's 28 years of age. He had 24 usage. That's fine. Will he play 36 minutes again? Well, again, when you look at the team, there's no draft picks. Does Westbrook even come back? What the hell are the other options? Are they going to do something in free agency to bring in someone to ease him off? Easing him off sounds like they're doing something else. That's for his IG Live. In this, though, 21, 4, and 6, 1.4 steals, it's all reasonable. There's no outlier. That's a crazy number for Murray that I was talking about with Jokic. 47, 89, 39 is his percentage splits. Okay. 92nd percentile passing creation volume. You don't really you don't look at him as that level of passer, but he was pretty good at it. Defensively, he's not great, but 1.4 steals. Maybe that's the one. Maybe 1.4 steals doesn't hold, especially with only 46th percentile on deflections. That's a little red flaggy. The Deltas all thought that there was a bit of a decline, 42nd and 31st percentile for Darko and Drip. So despite us being, or us, I say me, being wrong on his fantasy production this season, his on-court impact stuff was down. And that's a little, okay, I'm a little worried. Will he be able to play the 36 a night? I think he's going to probably have to. And maybe Adamwen has a different idea. But unlike with Jokic, where there are multiple things there, I go, oh, that could hurt. I don't know what it is with Murray here. Maybe it is just the steals. And if the minutes hold, and maybe it is the minutes will drop as well, but if the minutes hold, he could probably be a similar guy. Now, I wouldn't touch him in round 2. I don't even know that I'd do it in round 3, given the soft tissue injuries. But I know that I won't be having him in the 60s like I had him last year. He'll probably be in the 40s. But a lot of the way that I'm going to value him is going to be depend, I guess, on what they do in the offseason. Speaking of soft tissue injuries, Aaron Gordon pinged his calf about 5 times, and that is actually just not an exaggeration. Then, of course, in the final game against the Thunder, he hurt his hamstring, or second final game, and he played, and he wasn't right, clearly. Gordon, underratedly, is 30 years of age. He had a season again, which I don't think was particularly strong from a fantasy point of view. I had him 150th at the start of the year. He 150th. He ended up 121st. You will notice that he was 180th pre-deadline and 81st post-deadline. Some of that is some small sample size stuff. 14 and 5 with 3 assists. And for a guy that's as good defensively as he is, he never generates defensive stats. 0.5 steals, 0.3 blocks. 28 minutes a game is a number that's very low due to all those calf injuries, and I do think that Gordon will play more than that next season. He averaged 26 fantasy points. Passing creation volume 78th percentile is a really interesting number as well. Those 3 assists are pretty valuable given what else he does. But there is a huge red flag here as well. He hit 44% from 3 and 81 from the line. Now, he has worked very hard on his shooting. He used to be a bad 3-point guy with bad free throws. And both of them were excellent this season. But even if he is remaining a good shooter, I don't believe that 44% is a realistic number. And one of the strengths of Aaron Gordon being in Denver next to Nikola Jokic was a really high field goal percentage. And he was at 53% with shooting 43% from 3. 44% from 3. So if that goes to, like, if I set a number that Aaron Gordon shoots 36% from 3 next season, I don't think many people would go, wow, there's no way, that's outrageous. I think you go, okay, yeah, fair. Like, we don't look at him as an elite shooter. I think you'd be more surprised to see Aaron Gordon shoot 44% from 3 than you would to see him shoot 36% from 3. And if some of the finishing stuff with athleticism and injuries is diminished, do the field goals go to 51? And any advantage you've got there is gone. I say all this to say that it is probably realistic that Aaron Gordon plays more minutes and might be the 115th best player for categories and 110th for points leagues or whatever. But I think it's also realistic to say there's not much upside above that. And depending on where he projects out and all that sort of stuff, when they might make trades, who knows what they do. But if we get to a situation where I'm thinking he's the 130th best player, there's no real point in drafting him. And again, 156 players will get drafted in a standard league. But I don't care if you're projected 130th and I'm looking at you that way, but I see no way that you can be inside the top 110. I just don't care. Because I'll find ways to get that value off the waiver wire. So the way that I'm feeling about Aaron Gordon at the moment is I don't even know that he's a draftable player. And it always would feel weird to see a guy like that sit undrafted in a league. But I don't really know why I would. Now, the post-deadline stuff of 81st, that's a different story, isn't it? Like, if he's going to roll as the 81st ranked player, then of course that's a draftable guy. And maybe we could say, or, you could sit here and say, well, Josh, you can't tell me that you don't see the upside if he did it over that period of time, which I understand. If I have a look at what those numbers were post-deadline, he played 19 games, so it's obviously not big volume of games. He got to 32 minutes, so that's normal. He averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. So the rebounds and assists are about normal. What happened is that before the deadline, he averaged 12 points a game. After the deadline, he averaged 19. How? He shot 46% on his threes. He shot 57% overall from the field with 21 usage. So, largely, the efficiency just spiked. He took more shots and he played more minutes. Is it realistic for him to be a 46% shooter with a 69 true shooting 57 from the field on 21 usage in 32 minutes? I don't think so. And that's how he was able to get there. So that's my skepticism. Let's now talk about Russell Westbrook, who I think has been washed for quite a while. But I will say this. Westbrook, especially early in the season, was well above anything that I predicted from him. I thought that there was a chance before the preseason started that they would actually play a lot of Murray and Westbrook together, hence why I was very soft on Christian Brown. Because I thought that they would try to give Westbrook those minutes. It didn't really happen. But what we did see is Westbrook did get plenty of starts. And in fact, there was a period where Westbrook supplanted Christian Brown as the starter. It happened for one game, then Westbrook hurt his hamstring, and then Brown took back over and Westbrook never got back there. Overall, Russ was the 93rd ranked player in category leagues. He was 92nd in points, averaging 31. He had 24 usage. He averaged 13, 5, and 6 with 1.4 steals. And in 28 minutes, the 6 assists and 1.4 steals are elite. His percentages are still a problem. Bad field goals, bad free throws, not good three-pointers. His passing volume, his offensive load, all really large. His deflection numbers, really good. I thought he'd turned his career around a little bit. He was solid, but it did wear off. And towards the end of the season, we started to see the minutes go down. And we started to hear reports of the teammates not liking the prioritization he was getting from Michael Malone. And there are still dumb and like some of the dumbest and most insane shit that you will see from a player comes from him. It's just it's incredible how dumb some of the decisions are that he makes. I don't know that he's back in Denver. I'm not sure. I find it hard to see that he would find himself in a spot where he'd play more than 28 minutes, because that would be organizational malpractice. And a lot of what he did here is based on that incredibly high assist rate in those 28 minutes. Not as high as it's been for him in the past, but the other stuff is not really happening. The shooting's not going to improve. I don't see how Westbrook's going to be a draftable player next season, and he's 36, so he's got no long-term dynasty value. But he did surprise me. He was much better than I anticipated this season, like very clearly, but it did tend to sort of pull back as the season went on, and I think that 120 is probably a more realistic long-term number. We've got more guys to talk about. We'll come back to these, the over 27s for the Nuggets soon. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Olipop, a new kind of soda. You love the classic taste of soda, but you hate the sugar. Well, of course, we can all relate to that, because a classic can of Coke's got 39 grams of sugar. Original orange Fanta, 44 grams of sugar. Olipop, 2 to 5. You need to have like 9 cans of Olipop to hit a Coke number. 8, maybe. Yeah, about that number to hit it. But they've also got the prebiotic fiber, 9 grams of it in every Olipop can. And Olipop, that's reimagining soda to better for your gut health. The prebiotic fiber, it's called OliSmart. It's a blend that's shown to support digestive and overall health. The flavors are great. You crack open an Olipop, you got your classic cola, cherry cola, classic grape, the Dr. Goodwin, the crispy apple. And I'm dying for my delivery to arrive. It needs to get here soon. I want to crack one open on stream. Sodas, we love it. We love that little bit of indulgence taste that, oh, should I drink this? But in the end, you probably shouldn't because of the sugar. But in Olipop, you don't have to worry about that. You get a free can of Olipop by buying any 2 cans in store, and they will reimburse you for 1. The way to do that is head to drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That is drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, let's talk about some more of these over 27 Denver Nuggets after going through Jokic, Murray, Gordon, and Russell Westbrook. We'll head through to DeAndre Jordan, who again somehow just hangs around. And in the games that Jokic missed, he had a personal issue, which was birth of a child. Then he had a small injury towards the end of the season, nothing major. Jordan was able to step up and be useful. Like, if you knew that they originally would go with Saric and that clearly didn't work, but when they went to Jordan, you go, well, I'm going to get a double-double here. He averaged 4 and 5 in 12 minutes. Let's triple it, 36 minutes. Well, let's double it. Go to 24 minutes, 8 and 10, done. 1 block, 65%. It's classic Jordan, just can't play big minutes for long periods of time. Again, he was solid enough. He's, numbers are never as good as they used to be. Very clearly, he's 37 years of age. But if he finds his way back in Denver on another minimum deal to be Jokic's backup, we just keep it in our back pocket and be like, okay, well, if Jokic misses, we'll stream Jordan in. Because it did work. It hasn't always worked, but he has sort of realized some of his deficiencies and worked to keep himself relevant or in the league at this age. Shout out to Dwight Howard. He's relevant. He finds his role. He's fine. He's scaled back. Kudos. Not everyone can do that. Don't know what Dario Saric does now. I mean, I know he picks up his player option. Does he just come back to Denver and not play again? Because he had opportunities early in the season and just was terrible. He ended up, they signed him 2 years, $10+ million with a player option. He played 16 games, 13 minutes, wasn't hurt. He's 31. He averaged 3 points. He shot 27 from 3, 36 overall. He doesn't get steals, doesn't get blocks. They thought he'd be like a Jokic clone in the second unit as a passing big man, but he's undersized. He's bad. But he was washed in Golden State. He was out of the rotation there, overtaken by Trace Jackson Davis. And then Denver decided he'd be the answer. Why? Because they heard the name before. I think he'll be back, obviously, but they might organize a stretch. They might waive him. I don't know what they do. I know that there's no impact for Dario Saric in fantasy leagues anymore. That's just not going to happen. He's not going to reclaim that form. The last guy we talk about in this over 27s is Jokic's best mate, Vlatko Čančar, who at times has shown an ability to be an interesting sort of player, a little along the lines of a Maxi Kleber. Ooh, can this guy protect the rim a bit? Ooh, can you shoot a little bit? Ooh, can you be okay? And much again, like Kleber, the injuries have just cooked him. Torn ACL plus another knee injury this season. He only played 10 minutes a game, 13 games, 12 usage. Didn't really block shots, didn't hit threes. It's really hard to get, not excited about Vlatko, who, again, showed some moments of maybe could be a rotation big, but he's only 28, so I'll give him that. But I don't really see it. Maybe he's brought back again, just vibes for Jokic. And if Jordan doesn't return, and somehow they move off of Saric, they need the depth. But he's never going to be any sort of fantasy option for us. And the thing is, they don't really have the pipeline of guys coming through to replace him. But I'm not really sure that's going to matter at this point. And that, on International Sushi Day, is the beginning of the Nuggets season review. That's the over 27s done and dusted. We'll be back to talk about the under 27s. Christian Brown, Michael Porter, old mate Zeke Nagy, Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther. That'll all come up later on today. So hit the subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.